As a homeschool mom, have you ever felt like your days are just jam packed? You're rushing through lessons, the kids are burning through snacks, you're juggling your work calendar or your household to dos, and you're pulled in 100 different directions with activities and errands. And by the end of the day, everybody's tired, cranky, and over it. Well, if that sounds familiar, let me share something with you. It's not just that your days are full, it's that your family's rhythm is off. So today, I want to help you build a homeschool flow that actually fits your family's real life. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Elon, a homeschool mom of two. And in this video, we're going beyond the idea of color coded schedules and jam packed days so that we can talk about something that's even deeper. And that's how to build a daily rhythm that supports your family's homeschool goal, something that prevents burnout and something that helps your family thrive, not just survive. But before we get started, we need to clarify one thing first. A real homeschool routine doesn't have to look like a traditional school schedule. And I know when people are just getting started homeschooling, this is one thing that really trips some of us up. And it's really a mindset thing at its core. We think that we have to mimic a traditional 8-hour school day. So we start at 8 a.m., we have our kids sit at their desks at our house, we power through every single subject every single day with just a short break for lunch. And it's like we're determined to fill every hour of the day with structured work. But let me say, part of the reason that this happens in traditional school is because they actually have a system set up and a team that kind of shares the load. And yes, most of the instruction falls on the teachers. But my point here is that it's not just one person who's responsible for all the kids in the school like it is when we're homeschooled. Because when it's just us as homeschool moms trying to hold it all down at this pace, doing all the things every single day, it's a recipe for burnout. And it's not sustainable for us or our kids, if we're being honest. For most of us, we didn't choose homeschooling just to recreate the exact same thing as traditional school at home. We chose it to try something new, to reimagine education for our kids, and to build a rhythm that fits our family's life. So let's talk about how to build some semblance of structure, but without the stress. So in our home, we use something that I call a framework with flexibility. And what I do is that I break our days into three blocks: morning, which is roughly 8 a.m. to noon, then afternoon, which is about noon to 4, and then evening, which is about 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And what happens is I don't assign rigid timestamps for most things, unless it's like an outside class or an activity that starts at a certain time. And I like using these flexible time blocks because they give just enough flexible structure to give us a clear flow to guide our day. So let me give you an example of one of our days. In the morning, usually we focus on core subjects like math and language arts. Then in the afternoon, we explore science, history, art. We might even take a field trip someday. And then our evenings are for family time and they're for extracurriculars, or maybe they're just for us to get some rest. And if something throws us off during the day, because life always does, right? We can easily adjust our day without stress because there's that flexibility built in. So, in short, this system helps us stay consistent with our academics because for me, I assign certain subjects to certain days because everything doesn't have to be taught every single day. So, for example, math for us happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it also helps us make space for real life. So, time to go out and get fresh air, time to reset if we've hit a rut, and also time for me to ensure that I have clear cut time in my day for my responsibilities as a working mom. And so ultimately, once you've done this routine for a while, here's what it results in. Your daily rhythm begins to reflect your family's actual needs and not just what you put on paper. So if your kids need to sleep in, then don't start your day at 8 a.m. just because traditional schools start at that time. Start at the time that actually works for your kids, and that might be a little bit later in the morning. And also, here's a perk with that. If you're a working mom and perhaps you work from home, then you can use those quiet mornings to get in some uninterrupted work time before the kids get up. And then what about your afternoons? Well, if your kids have done more rigorous work earlier in the day, then you can build in some time for them in the afternoon to do things more independently. So think reading time or writing time or even tablet time doing some educational games. And again, if you as a mom have work, if you have meetings, then you can use that afternoon block to knock some of those meetings out while your kids are learning independently. But remember this, along the way, if something happens to throw off the normal rhythm of your household, so maybe your toddler has a meltdown or one of your older kids has some frustration while working through a new math concept. It could be anything. You still have the flexibility to hit pause. You don't have to feel pressured to power through. just to get through everything for the day. And like I said, we do math on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If the kids hit that block, maybe on a Tuesday, no worries. You can pick math back up on Thursday when they're fresh and ready to go. Now, remember this, certainly your days shouldn't look like anybody else's. That's not the point of it. There's no one right way to structure your homes, but it is about what brings your family peace, progress, and connection into your home. So before you create your family's daily homeschool schedule, ask yourself these three questions. When does our family have the most focus and energy? This might be the time that you use to tackle the things that require the most amount of attention. And then that way it's easier for your kids to lock in when their energy is good, right? Here's the second question. What needs to happen every week for us to feel grounded and for us to stay on track? So here's something that I do in my house. I have my girls do a short writing assignment 3 times a week, and I've really seen their writing improve because they have that consistency every single week. And then here's the third question. Where can I build in space for rest, for creativity, and for real life? Now, in my house, I don't usually schedule anything strenuous on Fridays. We either have that time to catch up on something that maybe we didn't get to during the week, or if we're all caught up, then we can do something fun. We can do a field trip, we can grab a movie, or maybe we can go get some ice cream. But the point is that you want to be careful not to pack out your week with wall to wall things every minute of the day. Leave some breathing room and protect your peace. Because when you create some margin, you don't just reduce burnout, you also create opportunities for more joy, more connection, and for those beautiful little unexpected moments that make homeschool so worth it. And if you'd like help getting started with this flexible framework, I have a free weekly planner template that has the time blocks for each day, the same time blocks that allow me to plan our time with that flexible framework. You can download it at homeschoolourway.com/weekly-planner, or you can click the link in the description. It's easy to use, it's totally customizable, and it's the perfect tool to help you map out your week with even more peace and purpose. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed or you're unsure about your homeschool schedule, just remember this. You don't have to follow someone else's blueprint. You get to build your own. So trust your instinct, prioritize your peace, and know that your rhythm gets to look exactly how your family needs it to. I hope you found this episode helpful, and make sure to subscribe and keep tuning in for continued support in your homeschool journey. And don't forget, learning never ever stops, and homeschool is a beautiful way to live that out. I'll see you in the next one.